Welcome, Jennifer. First one to join the queue. First one for reading. Thank you for joining me today, this morning. Do you have a question, or would you just like a general reading from the tarot? General is great. Okay. Today, I spent the whole day shoveling shit, literally. So here on the farm we have organic waste disposal for all of our sewage, composting toilets. And my dad and I, we built them about 13 years ago, and every now and then they need some maintenance, but it's been 13 years since they had some proper maintenance. So today basically we were thinning it all out and pumping it into the, what do you call, I guess channels, but there's another word for it. Channels that are dug into the earth. Swales? No, I don't know what the right word is. It all runs in these channels and gathers there, and then decomposes, and things grow in it. Crops get planted in it. So pretty much every 3 months the toilet backs up, and then what we did today, but we've got to maintain the system. Hopefully maintenance will not require, well, hopefully the toilet won't back up before maintenance is required, since what we did today. Hopefully we can just throw some bacteria and some yeast into the toilets every 3 months, and that should be enough to prevent it from backing up again. See, the reason they got all messed up, the culture in the tanks got messed up, is because of tenants who were not used to using and maintaining a compost, a biodegradable composting system. So they throw things in there that are not biodegradable, things like tampons, things like condoms, sanitary pads, they're just nappies, they just fucking threw everything in there, and that stuff doesn't degrade, so. Okay, so general reading for Jennifer. What general guidance does the universe have for Jen this morning? So, your past interval card is the Princess of Cups, your first card. She's reversed. So this card, it talks to me about having difficult emotional communications with other people. Recently. Specifically close relationships. Parents, lovers, that kind of thing. Then having interactions where there's either a lot of emotional baggage that's being suppressed and under the surface, and it's like this passive aggression bouncing that's going on, or it's just like just not being vulnerable at all. This like closed wall where you're just not talking about your emotional experience. You're feeling so shit, but you're not prepared to trust the other person with that, or allow them to support you in the process, and vice versa. Now this is something that's recently happened. It's coming to a close in the present. In the present we have a 5 of Wands. So with this 5 of Wands, you're pursuing your desires and what you're passionate about. So this card is basically just here to commend you. It's saying, well done, you're applying all of your knowledge and experience in order to chase after what you're passionate about. There's like an aspect of discipline and strength and structure that's required for this, and there's also like the flexibility and go with the flow energy. So you've got that like strong father kind of, let's do this and let's make it happen and make plans and structure. And then you've got the feminine that says, don't stress too much, just flow. Don't worry about having all of the goals on your list completed. Make it more like an income and an expense, where some things get completed today, maybe not everything because of unforeseen events, so we had to shift things around and cancel other things, but we move it back in on another day. We make it all fit together. So creating that balance between the two as you move towards your goals and what you're passionate about, chasing your desires. Future interval, 5 of Swords. So this card wants to say to you, there will be opportunity for growth in your knowledge, in your education. Basically, that is saying to me that what's crossing your desire, your outcome, the biggest thing that's crossing that is limitations on knowledge. Because this is a lot of passion and fire, a lot of drive, a lot of desire. And then with the 5 of Swords, it's intellect, saying that what's opening up for you is you now applying the intellectual capacity that you have, but also expanding on it, learning more, because the limits there are what's the biggest resistance to your passion, to your outcome. So stepping into research and education on whatever topic it is that you're passionate about. And that is the conclusion of your reading. So thank you very much for joining me. Please like and share and subscribe. You're already a follower, please like and share. Thank you so much. Welcome Shital, welcome back. Nice to have you in the chat. What general guidance does the universe and its spirits have for Shital Gopani? Past interval is number 13 of the trumps, it's death. It's telling me you've recently experienced a little bit of an encounter with death. So that doesn't have to look like someone in the family dying or you having a near-death experience. That could just mean that you know someone who was injured. Someone's going through a rebirth, someone close, possibly yourself. This is past interval. It's things that have already happened. You've already been dealing with it. So this card is showing up here to say to you that it might be painful to go through it, to have to endure this rebirth because of losing or because of impediment to someone in the family. Someone is going through changes. They're no longer able to function the same way they were before. For whatever reason, something has happened there. Something like an injury, a near-death experience, or death itself. But it might be painful and difficult to go through that, but the outcome is always to bring that person and everyone involved closer to the ideal lifestyle, and to bring them closer to their ideal aspect. new beginnings are always disguised as painful endings. Everything is within a balance. Life and death is in a balance. Death is a part of life, and whenever there is death of any kind, it is to bring what is still alive closer into its ideal state. Present interval is 9 of Swords. So this one is saying to me that you are self-reflecting and doing some shadow work, particularly to do with your educational sphere, to do with your reasoning and your logic, the progress you've made with your knowledge and your studies throughout your life. Every time that you've stepped out to study something, or every time that you've stopped studying something for whatever reason, you're reflecting on all of these things. You're identifying what the shadows were, what the triggers were that stopped you from pursuing something that you were learning, or otherwise looking at what motivated you there. Basically, you're doing this so that you can identify where you went wrong, if you did, and you're also doing it to identify where you made successes and where you did well, so that you can move into a new cycle, start a new project or whatever, learn something new, take up a new hobby, just stepping into a new sphere of learning. And Swords is all about the mental sphere. It's about the mind and the reasoning abilities and the critical thinking and education. So you're stepping into a new cycle like that, but you're reflecting on your past mistakes and your past successes so that you can apply those successes again. You can find those same methods and apply them, and also avoid repeating mistakes from the past. Future interval is a 2 of Wands. So this is saying that what's about to open up for you is opportunity for what you are passionate about, what you desire truly in your heart. There'll be opportunity for you to chase after that, to step into what it is that you're passionate about. And the card wants to say to you that you have had difficulty committing to new opportunities. You reach out for them, they pop up all over the place, and you grab a hold of them, but seldomly do you commit to any one of them, or more than one of them, or whatever. You commit for a little while, and then the passion seems to die out, or it starts to feel hopeless, and so you give up. So the card wants to say to you, don't let go this time. If it's what you want, and if it does resonate with you, this opportunity, it will resonate with you. It'll resonate with your heart's truest desire. So it'll be the diamond in the rough, and this time commit to it. That's basically what it's saying. Commit to it. Water the seed, nourish the seed, protect the seed from the weather. And I'm speaking in metaphors. You're not going to actually be watering a seed, but hey, go ahead and water a seed if you want. That's the conclusion of your reading. Thank you very much for joining me. Please like and share. Hey Empress, welcome back. Nice to have you. Does Karen still see me as Bella? Let's find out. On behalf of the one known as Empress, does Karen still see her as Bella? The answer is a clear no. There's no other movement. It's just a left and right, left and right. It's just a clear no. Karen does not see you as Bella. Not anymore, anyway. Maybe never did. Truly. Who knows? Death card. So, as I was asking the question in my mind, as I was clearing it, the death card turned over briefly. And that's just saying that she has gone through some kind of shift, some kind of rebirth. Her whole paradigm has shifted. Her whole identity has died and been reborn as a result of an encounter with death. And that could look like the end of a relationship, like she came out of a relationship, and this completely broke her, but then she started to rebuild herself from that broken state, and everything is new. Everything, including the way she saw you, the way she's seen other people in her life, everything is new. The whole old way she was, the whole old person she was is gone. She's an entirely new being. So yeah, don't expect the unexpected when it comes to Karen. And then we have Princess, who has joined us. Welcome, Princess. Thank you. Also, Empress, please like and share it. Thank you very much. Princess, so how does A feel knowing other people are interested in me? It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one for anybody when you've got a partner who has multiple interests. It can be difficult. Yeah, there is a certain point where someone becomes secure enough in their identity and secure enough within a relationship that they start to take pride in that their partner is well sought after. But I think for the most part it is, if they feel like they are not able to give you everything that they hope to give you, that you're worthy of, then when they see other people have interest, they become insecure because they feel like that person might be able to offer what they cannot. So it creates this instability in their ego, in their identity. But we're gonna ask the tarot anyway. That's just the message that I'm feeling intuitively called to speak on. Excuse me while I block the spamming scammer. Muhammad Akin, please feel free to make a request for a reading. Don't spam the chat. Slow machine. Good evening, Condasto. Nice name, Condasto. Welcome, Marshall Johnson. So guys, those of you who've just joined, Condasto and Marshall, please go ahead and type #tarot and leave your question there in the chat, and that will add you to the queue automatically. So, oops. How does the one referred to as A feel knowing that other people are interested in Princess? Okay, so your past interval card is the Two of Cups reversed. Basically, this card is saying that you had some difficulty. You've had some difficulty filling your own emotional cup in past relationships and in present relationships up until the present moment. Not so sure how long. It's rooted somewhere far away, somewhere probably to do with your relationship with your siblings or your parents. But anyway, how it has impacted you is that you've been had a difficulty filling your own cup, looking for that in a relationship, looking for a relationship in order to feel emotionally secure, looking for emotional abundance in others. And this is detrimental to relationships, and this is detrimental to A's security within the relationship. There are moments where you expect more emotional support than you are willing to give. Expecting others to hold your emotions, your partner and your family to hold your emotional experience regardless of what it is, but then getting frustrated with them when they try and express their emotions, kind of feeling like their emotion in that moment, if say he's feeling anxious, and you say to him, oh, well, that's silly because you've got no reason to be anxious, instead of understanding, yes, some people struggle with anxiety. Just having a tendency to invalidate rather than hold space. So that's something that's coming to a close, though. In the present moment, that is closing. Things are changing. In the present, we have number 2 of the trumps. It is the Priestess. So the Priestess is saying to me that right now you have a lot of potential. You have a lot of opportunities in front of you, and that is for development in every sense. Development within your career and your security, development within your identity and your emotional being, and more than that, development within your spirituality and your intuition. And you're committing to that, and that's really great. That is you filling your own cup. That's making the shift where you're committing to this kind of potential. A lot of the time, potential like this shows itself and we don't grab it. Or we do grab it and then we don't commit to it. But this card is saying that you are stepping through that gateway. You are committing to that abundance, to seeing all of that development realized for yourself. And that is literally you putting water into your own cup. So if you're expecting others to fill your cup will never really be full. You've got to fill it yourself and allow it to overflow. Then you can be full and the people around you can be full. Yeah, so that's really great. Future interval card is the 5 of Wands reversed. So this card is a warning saying to you, so as you're committing to this development, the things that you're reaching towards, the things that you're committing for, are things that you're passionate about, things that are within the realm of your heart's desire. So what that 5 of Wands is saying is that as you go forward, be mindful not to leap too far ahead out of excitement or passion. Just be aware of the limitations on your resources and your knowledge, so you don't try and reach further than what they can carry you. Just put one foot in front of the other. Take baby steps. Basically, that's what that card is saying. As you go forward within this commitment to yourself, this commitment to the relationship, and the commitment to all of the other things that you're doing, the growth and moving forward with your career, all of the things that you're committing to, just take baby steps. Apply your resources as far as they can take you, not further. Don't try and leap 5 steps at a time up the staircase. Just take 1 step at a time, you know? And yeah, that's your reading concluded. Welcome, guys, everyone who's joined the stream. Princess saying, me and Aeon together, we're just interested in one another. I still think that the words that came through and the reading that came through is very applicable to your situation. Maybe I'm wrong. And then we have Kathy Seal, who's joined, and says, is there a list? Or yeah, there's a list, Kathy. So to join that list, you just type #tarot along with your question, addressing everyone in the stream at the moment. Yeah, if you want to join that queue, just type #tarot with your question and you'll be in the queue. and I answer those as I see them in order that they appeared. First come, first serve vibes. And then we have a V4NTTU. I'm just going to call you V4, who says, hi, welcome V4, nice to have you here, good to see you. And new faces are always appreciated. Please give us a follow. Give your sorcerer a follow, your new sorcerer. And Eva, welcome. Says, I am waiting for some news regarding the person in the family next week. Will they be better than this week? I hope you can ask your angels. Thank you. Awesome. So, Anne, you are next. Thank you for adding the hashtag tarot. The hashtag tarot like builds momentum. For anyone searching that, the stream is full of it. But yeah, I'll take you as entering the queue when you asked your question the first time, and you're basically next up. Then Patricia Cassidy asks for a reading after you and is next after Anne. And then we've got Hey on YouTube, also Kay's current feelings towards me and intentions. Thank you for your question, you are in the queue. And then we've got a have you seen the light? I asked for a general. I'm going to scroll back up and see where you came in. Oh, have you seen the light? Asked for a general before Anne. My mistake, Anne. So, have you seen the light, and then Anne, and then Patricia, and then Hey. And that's the order of the reading so far. Yes, I did make a mistake. Have you seen the light? But I've corrected it. So, thank you very much for... Yeah, thanks for speaking up so that you didn't get missed. Alright, what general guidance does the universe have for seeing the light? Okay, so I've got a Prince of Discs for you in the position of your past. Okay, he's reversed. So, the Prince of Discs talks to me about, putting yourself in a position of difficulty and struggle, deliberately putting yourself there as part of your end goal, like saying, okay, I'm reaching for this outcome, and it's physical outcome, so that's career and health. So it could look like an exercise routine, or whatever it is you're doing for a living, a routine within that, probably something to do with your own career path, something where you're dependent, your outcome is dependent on you, as in a commission-based work or entrepreneurial work where you're starting your own business. One of the two, possibly both. But anyway, there was poverty. I don't like that word. There was some financial strain that was pressing down, and you basically said, I'm going to step into that. You had other options that you could have gone for, but you were like, this is what I want, so I'm going to step into that, even if I must stay in this place of a little bit of strain and suffering for a little while. I'm going to step towards that, and I'm going to find creative solutions to the problems, and I'm going to make a breakthrough. And that's where you've come from. That's what you have been up to since 2022 started, making that breakthrough with regards to your finances and your health, sticking to what's authentic rather than taking the easy way out, if you get what I'm saying. In the present, we have number 18 of the trumps, and number 18 is called the Moon. So this card is about realization. It's like, first of all, realization of what the true state of affairs is, rather than the deluded state of affairs. So having delusions, illusions, things you believing about the reality, or about yourself, or about what you're capable of, that are not necessarily true, suddenly coming to the realization of that fact, that those were delusions. And then realizing that you actually do have the tools that you need at your disposal, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical tools that you need in order to make your manifestation happen, in order to see your outcome realized. So this card being reversed is saying that that has been, you've become aware of the illusion, you've become aware of the things that are elusive, but still focusing on that, focusing on the fact that they were illusions, rather than focusing on what the true state of affairs is, which is that you actually have the tools you need, and it will just take a little bit of creativity to apply them to what you're doing. So that card wants to bring that to your attention and wants to say to you, your tools are in your present, you can realize your outcome, you can realize whatever it is you've been working on, your goal. You have the tools at your disposal. You just need to shift your perspective and realize that all it takes is a bit of creativity and you can apply them. Future interval is the 8, number 8 of the trumps. So this card, it's in the position of your future. It's what's about to open up for you. And basically, you're going to start making the changes. You're going to make a conscious decision to start making changes in yourself, because you are aware of what your outcome is. You've been like hanged man positioning yourself to get there. You're like, I'm going to deliberately go through this struggle in order to make a breakthrough. Realizing the illusions, now realizing that you have the tools you need. And then saying, okay, well, there's a specific person that lives my dream life, there's a specific person that accomplishes this goal that I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm going to start changing myself into that person. I'm going to start shifting my habits and my lifestyle to correspond with the kind of person that actually lives my dreams. And that's what's about to open up for you. So it's something you're going to be making a conscious decision regarding. Maybe something you've already made a conscious decision regarding, but it's actually going to start taking effect. And you won't necessarily see the changes day to day or week to week, but every couple of months you'll be able to look back and say, hey, I've changed a lot. So keep an eye out on that. Keep checking your progress month to month. You know, if you're not observing your evolution, then you're stagnant. So make sure you're observing that evolution month to month. And that's the conclusion of your reading. Have you seen the light? If I remember right, Anne was next. So have you seen the light? I just want to encourage you to like this video, give it a share, and also press on that subscribe button along with that notification button so that you get updates when I go live. I hope you guys are enjoying the music. Some of these tracks are my absolute favorite tracks. Thank you for confirming that you're here, Anne. Now, the truth is I can't hear the music. I can't hear the music. I guess I could connect my Bluetooth headphones and then listen in. That would be a good idea, actually. Tomorrow I'll do that. Okay, so there's some cards jumping out for you, Anne. They are the Emperor and the Two of Discs. Wild cards. Waiting for some news regarding the person in the family next week. Will the news be better than this week? I hope you can ask your angels. Okay, well, these spirits here chose to throw these cards out of the deck. And basically what they're saying, firstly, with the Emperor card, they're saying that the news is going to be about discipline. It's going to be about a new structure and discipline having been put in place to rectify whatever the problem is. Yeah, there's a new leader on the scene. There's someone taking charge of the situation. There's someone applying new structure, and basically rule, just changing the whole way that it's being run in order to get a better outcome. And that outcome we're seeing there with the Two of Discs, which is an outcome regarding health, physical health, and it's talking about potential for success, potential for growth, recovery, and abundance in health. So when the two of discs is reversed, it would indicate that this character is not going to commit to the outcome they are presenting and that they're setting structure for. But the card is the right way around, which is saying to me that this person is committed. This person is committed to seeing that outcome. Well, what can I say? I'm glad that it's on point and that the spirits are talking. You know, with the last couple of readings, as I was speaking, I feel like this. It feels like soda water pouring on the top of my head and running down the back of my head and down my back. Yeah. Don't really know what that's called. I have a bunch of words for it. I don't know what it's really called, but I see it as a signal of a powerful creative spirit. Let's see who's next. Condasto, you're talking about a delay between my voice and the video, like is it a desync? Patricia Cassidy is up next. And then Anne, thank you very much. Please give this video a like and a share if you don't mind. Would be much appreciated. Okay, thank you for letting me know, Condasto. I will check it out later and see what I can do about adjusting that sync. It's difficult when it's a wireless setup, because then this is not wireless and then that is wireless, so that one it changes depending on the bandwidth. Welcome, Kelly C. Your question added to the queue, waiting for Patricia Cassidy to let me know if she's still here. Patricia, you're up next. Welcome, Jelly Melly Mellow. Thank you for joining the queue. I'm reading about the trial. Cool. So Patricia, let's see. General spread. What guidance do the spirits of the universe have for Patricia today? Okay, we have a 9 of discs as your past interval. So 9 of discs is what it's telling me is it's like a lack of responsibility regarding your part to play in dissatisfactory sexual encounters. I know that might sound a bit weird, but that's what I'm intuitively picking up. Basically having like boring, mundane, or painful sexual experiences in the past in relationships, whether it's in your current relationship or in past relationships. And then you having a tendency to feel like it's the partner's problem, like the partner should have more stamina, or the partner should be more considerate, or the partner should have a longer dick. You get what I'm saying? Just projecting, saying no, they could be doing better, instead of saying what can I be doing better? How can I move more? How can I connect with my sensuality? How can I draw up that sexual current? Because you know, when you bring it up, the partner will experience it. That's how it works. It's like it bounces. It's an energy. It's not. If you're feeling aroused, you can be sure other people in the room are feeling aroused as well. It's not isolated to you. Sexual energy is like that. So if you're not feeling aroused, you can be sure your partner is struggling with that sexual current as well. Yeah. So then asking yourself, how can you bring up that sexual current? There is a little bit more about that. It's extending beyond the bedroom. It's also extending into like fitness and diet. Finding reasons that it's the environment's fault that you can't keep up with your diet. Like, oh, they're tempting me with putting, or as soon as I go on a diet, then everyone is suddenly baking and I can't resist. Basically, yeah, not seeing your part to play in the difficulties in your physical environment. There are difficulties there and you're seeing them the whole time, but you keep finding reasons to put it onto other things, to blame other things, other variables, rather than looking at your own part to play and how you can make a change, waiting for the environment to change. Present interval is a Six of Swords reversed. So this is just telling me that you have connections, that you like long-term connections, relationships, and present connections, and this is to do with the intellectual mind. So connections with people who are very intellectual, first of all, but I feel it's like study partners. That's what's coming to me, study partners. But that doesn't have to mean that you're like at university. Maybe like a book club or a Bible study group, or these are good examples where people get together to discuss things intellectually and find new intellectual standpoints. And basically through these connections, old and new, you're being made aware of your own limitations within your critical thinking and your reasoning. And that's been difficult to acknowledge, like seeing other people notice things that you overlooked or missed. It can make you feel a little bit like why didn't I see that? But as you're becoming aware of these limitations, you're also seeing their example, and it is allowing you to evolve past your limitations and learn from them and grow. But then at the same time, they have their own value to offer and you have your own value to offer. So as you're learning from their example, they're secretly or openly also learning from your example and evolving past their limits. It's a two-way street. If you're being made aware of your limitations, you can be sure the other people who are making you aware of those limits are also being made aware of their limits by you. Future interval is a Two of Cups, so this is what's about to open up for you. And basically, this card is some advice saying to you, love yourself. Pour all of that energy into your own emotional cup. Take responsibility within. Take responsibility for your own emotional being, for your own sexual satisfaction, for your own physical fulfillment and spiritual fulfillment. Stop waiting for the environment to change or become ideal for you to step out and accomplish something. Make the change within, and then the environment will correspond. People in the environment will follow your example, and generally when reality forms according to what you observe. So if you're observing the things that you don't like about reality, you're going to continue to see things you don't like. If you choose instead to stop looking at that and say, hey, what am I actually grateful for? What am I enjoying about this space right now? Never mind the things that are triggering me and upsetting me. What am I enjoying about this space? That would be you putting energy into your own cup. That would be you filling your own cup, loving yourself, premium self-care. And that's the conclusion of your reading. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Patricia. Please like and share. Thank you for confirming that you're still here. At Hey. Jelly Melly Mellow says, hi cutie, you don't have a queue. Jelly Melly Mellow, since when don't I have a queue? I've had a queue since the day I started this thing. It just doesn't work the way you expect it to work. Okay, so Hay's question was Kay's current feelings towards me and intentions. You're welcome, Patricia. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for all of your support over the last few months. Very much appreciated. Thank you for confirming, Kathy. I can see your question. You're pretty much after after hey. Here. After here. The one referred to as K, what are his or her current feelings towards the one known as here? Yeah, pretty much, Condasso, pretty much. That's how it works. I might adjust your question so that it suits what, yeah, so that it can provide more resonant guidance. Okay, so here is your past interval card. Basically, K has been feeling like this relationship is difficult. You create a bit of suffering. You create strain on health, strain on finances. That's how he's been feeling. He's been feeling like he needs to come up with some kind of creative way to set a boundary, or he needs to come up with some creative way to overcome his limits so that you don't provide, so that your habits and lifestyle are no longer a strain to his health and career. But that's what he's been feeling. He's been feeling like this relationship has been putting strain on his health and on his finances. Doesn't quite know how to set a boundary there, how to make a change, but that's what he's been trying to do. This is past, so it's stuff that's coming to a close now. In the present, we have number 18 of the trumps, the moon. So far this is saying to me that the reason he's been feeling strain is because of like dates or meetups, whatever you guys do and hang out and chill out. He feels like those activities are costing him more than he can afford. It's like straining him, and so he has made some attempts to set a boundary regarding that or bring it up in communication, and that has created this like shattering of illusion. The way you saw him and understood the relationship to be, it was like shattered when he broached this topic. You realized that everything was kind of like a facade. It was outside of what he could actually provide, and so yeah, overlooking the fact that you guys actually have the resources to make this relationship be whatever it is you want it to be. So he put on this like image of what he could offer, and then it turned out that that was too much strain. So that illusion was shattered, but you guys actually have the tools at your disposal to create that vision that he was trying to put on as a facade. You can actually create it, realize it, manifest it, but you're too focused on the fact that it was an illusion up until now and not noticing that you actually have the tools you need to manifest it and that you can actually create that for yourselves. Future interval, what's opening up for you is the Four of Cups, and that is talking about emotional discipline. So in order to unlock that future, in order to unlock the vision of your future that you desire, what you want to create with this relationship, what you want to create for your own life and what he wants to create for his life, the way that you get there, the way that you build this relationship is through emotional discipline. So when he says or does things like this, or when you say or do things that put strain on him, instead of reacting to the emotion, doing something constructive, something creative, and speaking productively and constructively. Whenever you're reacting to emotion, that looks like, so if it's fear, then running away from the relationship. If it's resentment, doing something spiteful. Same with jealousy, doing something spiteful. The negative emotions tell us to do something, and that is usually self-sabotage. It usually breaks relationships. So this card is saying to you that if you want to make this work, and if you want to go forward and make it work, for both of you, you need to apply some emotional discipline. Stop reacting to emotions. Whenever you feel emotional, you feel almost entitled to have that feeling. No more is that, like, don't allow that anymore. Apply discipline in that moment. When you feel like you should be allowed to feel this way and speak this way, check yourself and say, no, maybe I am valid within this, but I'm still going to speak constructively. I'm still going to find a creative solution rather than make it someone else's problem, or blame, or be spiteful, or run away. You get the drill. And that is the conclusion of your reading. Next is Kathy Seal, and I want to say welcome to Lil Diamond. Is that Lil Diamond? Yeah, Lil Diamond, who says, how does my enemy Ashley feel about me? Why you got enemies? They don't have to have enemies. They can consider you an enemy, but you don't have to consider them an enemy. If you consider them an enemy, you're giving them energy. You're saying, yes, you're worthy of me wasting my time being upset about you. No, 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 no. No, the strong don't have enemies. The one who's succeeding doesn't have an enemy. It's the one who's failing who makes the one who's succeeding an enemy. And Zapzest, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Loving all the new faces and new names in the chat. I'm really appreciating all of you guys. Kathy Seal. Has ZV moved on? What do the spirits of the universe have to say regarding the one known as ZV? On behalf of Kathy Seal, has the one known as ZV moved on? Okay, so the pendulum is swinging back and forth, which is a yes. It's giving me a slight anti-clockwise motion. So that anti-clockwise motion is saying that for the most part ZV has moved on, but there are still moments where he or she gets hung up, thinking about the relationship or whatever it is that they're trying to move on from. There are moments where it still gets them down, but for the most part they have moved on. What advice does the tarot have? Seven of the trumps, the Chariot reversed. So this card talks about feeling a little bit overwhelmed by responsibilities. So when the relationship was going, responsibilities were shared. So the biggest thing, the thing that keeps bringing ZV back, so for the most part, the pendulum said for the most part ZV's moved on, but then there are moments where it's not that case, and ZV actually is struggling. So in those moments it's because of overwhelm with responsibility. The responsibilities that have fallen onto ZV's plate since this relationship came to a close, yeah, then ZV feels overwhelmed and starts to thoughts and memories, basically the trauma or the pain of the losing that relationship comes up whenever they're feeling overwhelmed by their responsibilities that have fallen onto their plate since the end of that relationship. And yeah, you're welcome. Please give me a like and a share, and if you aren't already a subscriber, please subscribe, although I'm quite sure I've seen your name before. Zapzest, no, you do not have to ask a question. I can get you general guidance, of course. Of course I can get you general guidance. The spirit knows what you need to hear. Spirit will tell you what you need to hear, whether you ask a question or not. So, where on earth are we in this queue? We just did Kathy Seal's reading. Next up is Jelly Melly Mellow. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your confirmation, Zapzest. You are in the queue. So, Jelly Melly Mellow, are you still here? Let me know, Jelly. You're up next. Jelly Mate. Kelly C. Webb, are you still here? On YouTube, Kelly C. Webb. Okay, moving on. Little Diamond. Little Diamond. Jelly Melly Mellow. Oh, where's everybody gone to? Where's everybody gone to? What is that? Porn bot. Yuck. Okay, Zapzest. What general guidance do the spirits of the universe have for Zapzest? Welcome Vulcan 3. Little Diamond, thank you for confirming. I just pulled a spread for Zapzest because I wasn't getting feedback, but I'll do your reading right after. So 8 of Cups for Zapzest. Past interval. This is where you've come from. So basically this is saying to me that you've been feeling like you're either you've been feeling like there's an imbalance in the emotional support structure that you have. Maybe you feel like you've been giving more energy than you're receiving. I feel that's very much what it is about. So you're feeling like there are certain emotional cups in you that are being left dry, not being filled. And so as a way to compensate, you're trying to like lead by example. You're giving emotional support to people as a way to demonstrate, hey, this is what I would like and what I need in my life right now. But it's not coming back to you, so you keep pushing out more energy, keep giving more support, and still not receiving the support, still having those cups running empty. So you started to make some changes. You started to set some boundaries, started to you just wanted to create more of a balance. You wanted to focus instead on yourself, supporting yourself. If no one else was going to support you, you were going to support you and fill those cups. And that also meant taking a step back from certain people who like keep on taking and never give. So that's past interval. Those things are coming to a close. In the present I have number 10 reversed. This card is called Fortune, but it's reversed. It's upside down, so that's kind of like misfortune. So it's not all misfortune. but you're feeling like there is misfortune, you're feeling like there's discomfort, things are going wrong, like one coincidence after another that's not in your favor. But yeah, you don't have to focus on those things. If you take a moment and you look at what you're actually grateful for and what you've been blessed with, you'll realize that there are a lot of blessings and a lot of things to be grateful for in the present, never mind the misfortune. So this kind of thing is happening because of things you've put out into the universe. In your past, investing into the wrong kinds of people, investing energy and time and resources into the wrong kinds of people, and the wrong kinds of content and the wrong kinds of products. So sowing seeds into those things, sowing seeds into things that are not so meaningful, things that lack value, that lack true spiritual and emotional value. That is what brings about this kind of misfortune that you're seeing. Everything returns. So you feel like there are losses, like friendships are deteriorating that you thought were great. You're being kicked out of groups. I don't know, maybe your guitar strings break, maybe your car gets a flat twice in a row. So just bad luck, seems like bad luck. Future interval is Knight of Cups reversed, so what's about to happen for you is you're about to go through a rebirth in your emotional self. You have realized that the way you used to interact with your emotions is not working in the present, and as you go forward it's going to be even less compatible. Basically, you're going to step into a reality where the way you used to interact with your emotional beings just doesn't cut it anymore for this new reality. When you experience things like misfortune, it can inspire you to self-pity, maybe cause depression. And now, as you step into this new state of being, as you move forward, as you sow new seeds and make new investments into new potential, new opportunities, you're going to realize that the old way, the old self-pitying, the old depression, all of that shit it's not compatible with this new reality anymore. You need to take a different action. Instead of reacting to emotion, you're going to take action, creative action, constructive action. And that's the shift that you'll have to be making. That's the rebirth. So it's going to be painful and difficult at first, but as you apply your potential and as you apply your creativity, you'll find that you're stepping into more alignment and more emotional strength and more emotional discipline. So that's the conclusion of your reading. Thank you very much. Please like and share. Give me that follow as well, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. Welcome, Vulcan, saying I'm from South Africa. Yes, I am from South Africa. Fairy Snowflake, can I get a reading too? Yes, you may. Thank you for joining the queue. I got you. You're in. Don't stress. Little Diamond is up next, so please, Little Diamond, let me know. Vulcan 3, are you South African? You could pick up the accent. Madsen 49, welcome. I don't speak French, I'm afraid. Fairy Snowflake, the reason the bot doesn't work is because I haven't set it up. On 6 platforms. Actually, today I'm only on 5 platforms. I've neglected to go live to Discord. 5 platforms. So the queue on Twitch isn't really going to cut it because it's like Twitch exclusive. It would be more confusing than anything else. Tony Redfield, welcome. So you know how it works? Well, I'm going to let you know. You type #tarot with your question and that'll get you into the queue. Thank you for confirming that you are still here. You're up next, Little Diamond. So, Fairy Snowflake, you want to know where you are in the queue? Now that's a little bit of a difficult question, but I'll see what I can do. We got Little Diamond, and then we got Vulcan 3, and then Enchantress B, and then Fairy Snowflake. I see, so little Diamond, I see that there's a little bit of a lag there. No stress. Fairy Snowflake says it's late here. Well, it's late here too. It's 1:35 a.m. If you want to skip that queue, you can do so with a $5 tip. Okay, I want to go back up and confirm what Little Diamond had to say, what Little Diamond requested. It's to do with Ashley. How's Ashley feeling? Oh, spirits of the universe, let us know. How is Ashley feeling towards Olivia? Although Olivia already said that Ashley's jealous. What is Ashley actually going through? Oh well, would you look at that? So Ashley has recently been sacked. Ashley has recently had to like make some drastic changes in her physical environment. These changes were not things that she came to of her own accord. It was forced on her by her environment, her work, and what she was doing to secure herself financially just fell away. But this was not. She didn't really enjoy what she was doing, and it wasn't really working for her. So, it falling away, it's like a painful ending, but it's actually disguised as a new beginning that's better for her. That's more aligned with who she is. Present interval 5 of discs. So what she's been doing now, whatever she's trying to create for herself since that rebirth took place, she's applying herself too hard. She's trying to reach further than her resources can take her. So this is specifically talking about her finances and her technology. So she's trying to accomplish something that requires stronger technology and more finances, more financial investment than what she has to give. And this is causing her to take like one step forward and then go 2 steps back. It's creating a lot of resistance. She could be taking smaller steps. She could be setting smaller goals, staying a little bit closer to home, but she's putting those goals a little bit too far out, further than what her resources can carry her, basically. And that is, yeah, it's frustrating her, and it's resistance, and it's actually sending her backwards. She's ending up making losses, spending more than she's making out of this new venture. And then future interval card is the 9 of Swords. So the reason she's feeling jealous is because you're moving seamlessly. You're taking small steps, and so little by little you're actually getting closer to your outcome. And she feels like she's doing way more and not seeing even a fraction of the same result, and that's what's creating the jealousy. Also feeling like you're kind of entitled because she recently lost her job, so she's feeling like you're in a better position, and that makes her feel envious, like why it's not fair. The universe has given you more resource and more technology than I have. Why is it so unfair? But anyway, what's about to open up for her is a 9 of Swords, and that is saying that she's going to be self-reflecting, reflecting on why she's been failing, reflecting on why she got sacked in the first place, why what she used to do fell away, reflecting on what she has done in the past that was successful, learning to develop her critical thinking and her logical decision making. That's basically what's opening up for her. She's stepping into a place where she has to like isolate, be like, okay, hold up, pause the universe. We need to understand what's going on here. Why did I destabilize that security that I had? Why am I going 1 step forward, 2 steps back in the present? Why can't I achieve these goals that I've set for myself? And yeah, basically through that self-reflection, then she can step into completion, where she's actually in a place of balance between how much she's giving versus how much she can reasonably accomplish. Acknowledging her mistakes so that she can avoid repeating them, acknowledging her successes so she can reapply the method and get to that. Basically, you're inspiring her. You're inspiring her to work harder and be better. It's coming out of a place of resentment and out of a place of envy, but it is having a positive impact on her. She's like, I will win, I'll do better, I'll do the best. And so she's just working harder and pushing herself. And then when she's pushing too hard, then reflecting, why is she pushing? What can she change? What are you doing that she's missing? Basically, yeah. So Vulcan wants to know, how did the last interview go? What are my chances like for that job? Little wild card. 6 of Swords. So basically you created an impact there. You made an impact. You taught them something in that interview. And they taught you something as well. The fact that you learned something in that interview that you were like, oh, they had a similar experience as a result of things that you said and put forward. They also had that oh moment. So, what are the results on this of this impact that Vulcan 3 has made in his or her last interview? The first card is the 9 of Swords, Wands. Yeah. It talks a lot about reflecting and shadow work regarding what you desire from life and what you desire, what you're passionate about. This is in the past. This is leading up to the interview as well as post-interview. So leading up to the interview, you were reflecting on what it is that you actually want to be doing, what it is that drives you and motivates you to do this kind of work. Also having a look at all the interviews you have been to that haven't worked out for you, and all the interviews you've been to that have worked out for you. Observing them in your mind, saying, okay, what went wrong with those ones I didn't get, and what did I do right with those ones that I did get? You just wanted to learn some tips from your past self so that you could apply it as you went into this this new interview. And then post-interview, you were again reflecting. You were like, hey, did I repeat mistakes from last times, or did I apply my successes? You were reflecting on it. Acknowledging your triggers when you were sitting there, acknowledging the shadow aspects of yourself that came up, and the shadow aspects are things that you hide about yourself, things that you don't like within yourself, that you prefer others not to see. And then triggers are when people say or do things that bring that shadow up into the light. It can trigger an emotional response. So that's all stuff that you went through Yeah, it's all stuff you went through as you were leading up to the interview and even afterwards, still doing that. In the present, we have an 8 of Swords. Okay. So, yeah, 8 of Swords talks about making a shift in the mental sphere, and that, yeah, it's leaning against you. So while you made them have that wow, ooh, interesting moment, that oh moment, you gave them something to think about, something that's good, that they need to be thinking about, something to do with their employment rate or their decision-making process within employment. You brought something to their focus and created a shift, but the fact that it was you leans your yes. It leans your yes to a no. You know, they realize the wisdom of what you've given them and what you've said to them and what you have to offer, but they're almost too proud to give you the position because it was you who pointed that out to them. And it's not entirely hopeless. You are ideal for the situation. They should accept you as a candidate. Yeah, but the changes, that the shift that you caused for them, that is now going on in that interview space, that's now going on in that business space, it's difficult for them, and they almost, yeah, it's healthy for the business, but it's not great for your chances. Future interval is 10 of discs reversed, so this card is saying misfortune in financial spheres. That's saying no, your chances are pretty slim of getting in as a result of this interview. Basically, this card is saying that you have put out too many masked intentions. Yeah, there was too much that was masked, too much that wasn't entirely transparent. Some dud seeds, you know. Whatever you put out into the universe comes back. So this card being reversed is saying that the investments of your time and energy that you've made have been with either the wrong motive, or they have been into the wrong systems, into the wrong kinds of people, into the wrong kinds of business, wrong kinds of institutions. And so, yeah, as a result, your chances are very slim. The advice that card has for you, that spread has for you, is that you need to sow more seeds, apply for more interviews, broaden your horizon. Until now, you've probably had like specific companies that you've been looking at, or specific job descriptions. Widen that a little bit. Yeah. You're welcome, Vulcan. Sorry it wasn't great news. Enchantress B says, do you see me qualifying in competitive exams? A lot of people doing these competitive exams lately, I see. I have no idea what it's about. Enchantress B, are you here? Because you're up next. Zapzest! You made me want to ask another question, but I don't even know if that's allowed. You're welcome to ask another question, but I only give away one free reading per stream, per person. So, yeah, if you really want to get that reading, send a tip, and I will do it for you. Waiting for Enchantress B to confirm. And then I see Tony Redfield adjusted question, changed question to when will I be more financially stable? So I'm not going to ask the tarot that question for you, Tony. When I get to you in the queue, I'm going to ask the tarot, how can you make yourself financially stable? Okay, so Fairy Snowflake is up next. Fairy Snowflake, if you're here, please let me know. If you are, thank you for your patience. I saw earlier, Zapzest, you said I did drop you a follow, but that was an interesting reading indeed. I like that. I like to hear that. But, full stop, period. That was an interesting reading indeed. Ellipses. Emphasis. Okay, so it seems everyone else has run away. Tony Redfield. Nah, Zap says you didn't send that twice. I was just checking my queue and I saw that in the chat. I was scrolling up. Thank you for confirming, Tony. Gonna give you your reading. Wild card, Princess of Cups. So, Princess of Cups is talking about a lack of emotional vulnerability. She's reversed there. So, your question is about how can you secure yourself financially, and so there is potential for support. Like there are people in your space, in the relationships that you have, that are prepared to support you and help you grow in whatever it is you want to create. But you live inside of like a tortoise shell. You put on this hard, tough guy exterior, like you don't need any help. You'll just trudge on and you'll make a way. And that's detrimental. So take off that shell, come out of your shell a little bit, start being more expressive about what you're feeling and what you're going through and what you want to create with your partner or all of the people in your life that you're close to. You'll find that there are people who want to encourage you and support you and help you make it happen. How can Tony Redfield secure himself financially? So your past Interval Cups is a 9 of Discs, and this is telling me you've had a lack of responsibility when it comes to your finances in the past. In your career, whatever it is you've done to secure yourself, the reason you have instability is due to a lack of responsibility. Now that is not that you're irresponsible, it's that when things go wrong, you don't take responsibility for your part in that fuck up. So whenever there's a mistake or when something goes wrong with a business venture, then tending to blame it on someone else or blame it on the environment, blame it on your tools, instead of acknowledging where you went wrong and what you could have done better. and at the same time also not taking responsibility for your successes, or where you did well and where you made breakthroughs. Not taking responsibility for these things is why you remain unstable. If you take responsibility for your mistakes as they happen, then you can avoid repeating them. If you don't take responsibility for them, then they repeat themselves again and again and again, and you make the same mistakes. As long as you're blaming the environment and other people for the mistake, you leave room for that mistake to reoccur. You have to take responsibility inside. And then the same applies to your successes. If you are successful at something and you do something and you make a breakthrough with it, and then you play it down and say, oh, it was probably coincidence, or it was a fluke, it's not going to happen again, then it won't happen again. You have to take responsibility for what you did leading up to that success so that you can reapply that method and see if it produces the same results. This is a very important part of finances and health and fitness. Whenever you make mistakes or you mess up or something goes wrong, you take responsibility for it so you can avoid it. Whenever you make a breakthrough or something goes well, you observe yourself and you say, okay, this works. I can reapply this to see similar results. Future interval is 5 of swords. Oh, present interval, 5 of swords reversed. So this card is saying to me that in the present you have goals, you have financial goals and you're reaching for them, but you are applying yourself more than you can actually. They're not reasonable goals, they're not realistic goals, they're outside of your reach. You have a limit on the amount of knowledge you have a limit on how much experience you have. We all do. Every moment we are limited in our knowledge and experience. We can't know everything, but every moment that we step forward, we're learning new and overcoming those limits. However, you're trying to reach way further than what your knowledge and resources can take you. So basically your outcome is here and you're over here, and you want to just jump all the way up there, and that's you're gonna fall. You're gonna like just fall. That's what that card is saying to you. It wants to say to you, take smaller steps towards your goal, make your goal a little closer to home, and then take smaller steps, one step at a time, until you get there. Future interval is number 11 of the trumps, and it's called lust. Now in other decks it's called strength, and lust is a bad word, strength is a bad word. They don't really describe the frequency of this card. This card's frequency is the strength of desire. When you have a desire and it motivates you to accomplish that desire, that's the kind of energy we see with this card. Now this card is reversed, so thank you very much, Zapzest, thank you, very much appreciated. This card is basically warning you, Tony. It's saying to you that there is going to be a sense of hopelessness regarding your desires as you step out to accomplish them. So there's a gateway towards your desire, and as you step through that gateway, there's only going to be unknown in front of you from there, and that's going to be daunting, and it might come with a sense of hopelessness that your destination is too big, your desire is too much to manifest. Now that's a warning saying to you that that's what you will feel, but don't react to it. Don't give up on your goals, don't give up on your desires just because you feel overwhelmed. Anything you can visualize up here, you can realize by finding creative solutions. So through that gateway of desire, there is darkness, it's unknown, but your creativity and your logic, your reasoning, your emotions and your intuition are light. So every step that you take towards your destination, small steps, as the present interval recommended, small steps, but every step that you take is going to illuminate the path in front of you, and you're going to see obstacles and you're going to be able to overcome them. So don't let the hopelessness discourage you. Keep walking in that unknown. Keep walking, because the path will become clear as you go. And that is the conclusion of your reading. Thank you very much, Zapzest. Every little bit counts. So you want to get into that queue for a second time, Zapzest? Enchantress B is back. Welcome back, Enchantress. Okay. What guidance do the spirits have for Enchantress B regarding her application to these competitive exams? Okay. On behalf of Enchantress B, what was your question? Will she qualify for competitive exams? Tarot is Pendulum is answering you yes. It gave me a slight anti-clockwise rotation, and then a clockwise rotation, and then an anti-clockwise rotation, and then a clockwise rotation. So basically what this is saying to me is that you still have the potential to sabotage that outcome. First of all, that's the anti-clockwise rotation. But you have the potential to make that happen. If you continue on the way you have been, chances are slim. You might barely make it in. But yeah, there are more tools at your disposal, and you have a bigger capacity than what you're currently applying. So you can step it up a notch. If you go at the rate you're currently going at, you're gonna barely make that pass mark. But if you want to stand out, you can apply yourself a little bit more. And also, if you stop doing what you have been doing, then you change that future. We have a Princess of Swords, so this is very interesting. This, first of all, is saying that you are reluctant to work with your partners, reluctant to work with your romantic partner if you have one, reluctant to work with the other people who are doing similar things. You're reluctant to study with them, exchange study notes. You're reluctant to work with others regarding this competitive exam. And what more is saying is that you feel like you have been driven into this application for competitive exam because you feel like there is mayhem closing in. You feel like there's sabotage, there's ruin. That's the word I'm looking for. There's ruin closing in around you, and you keep taking another step higher in this burning building, trying to escape this fire, this ruin that's consuming. That's consuming reality around you. It's a symbolic fire. It's just discord, disharmony, and discord. Like, if you're not doing anything, you can start to feel anxiety, like a fear that things are going to start falling apart unless you start doing something. So that's what has brought you to this place of applying for this competitive exam. It's you trying to escape that ruin, that anxiety. It's you applying your creative potential in order to grow wings and soar away from that flying building. And it will work. But the card wants you to start co-creating and studying with others and working with others, getting involved in a study group. That'll give you an advantage. It's competitive exams, babe. It's competitive exams. You need a study group. You have a lot of potential as an individual. Another individual has a lot of potential as an individual. When you guys are working together, that potential is more than doubled. So that is where you will find a trump card, is in like bouncing ideas off of others and sharing study notes with others and joining a study group. Some sort of needing. Mental peace, stability, sanity. So I don't know if the tarot is gonna, we could read cards all day and you could get some of the best advice the world has ever seen, but that doesn't fill that hole. What is the enchantment for healing current? Spara Viko Net M Jota. So Zap says, please speak that enchantment for me. Bara Viko Net M Jota. Please speak that that enchantment, and then take a moment to sit with me. Consider your fears. Consider the things you're afraid of. Try and think of experiences in your life that have been most scary, most frightening and terrifying experiences you've had. For me, it might look like something like a break-in. Might look like being abandoned in a public space as a child. Now I want to look at how did these experiences of fear impact our daily life thereafter. What started to change? Like for me, I started locking the house, and that started to spill over onto everyone else. Like as soon as the sun started setting, I would lock the house in like a paranoid frenzy. Becoming aware of how it impacted our lives thereafter and how those changes thereby impacted the people in our lives. Then we want to go into that moment and say to ourselves, come back, look at the present. The thing you were afraid of back then is no longer in the present. In the present, you have the freedom to act as productively as you would like in order to secure yourself, in order to be secure. Now we're going to consider things that are shameful about ourselves, the actions we've taken that are shameful, things which have been done to us that we are ashamed to admit. For me, something that comes up as a kid is shoplifting, something that I'm ashamed of and don't like to admit or talk about. Now I want to observe how these shames affected us day to day. What kind of impact did it have on our lives? How did it affect the people around us? Did it cause us to start doubting ourselves when it came to certain activities or certain creative efforts? Shame often blocks creativity. Having doubt about the value of what we can create, having doubt about the value that we have to offer in general as a human being. How did this affect our day-to-day? How did this affect the people around us? So for me, it looks like causing other people a lot of stress and discomfort in relationships. When it comes to the shoplifting, then thereafter, friends becoming really like unsettled, not so sure if they want to keep my company, causing them like fear and anxiety. And it caused me to doubt my capacity to earn, to have enough, you know. It caused me to doubt that I would have enough. So the shoplifting, the kleptomania, was like an impulsive action because of fear of not having. So then thereafter, having done that, it's like I solidify that belief that I'm not going to be able to have unless I steal. Now we're going to observe where we have had false pride. We want to make the distinction between what is healthy pride and what is false pride. So false pride is when you believe you are strong and powerful because of how much harm you can cause physically or emotionally using your tongue. But when we do that kind of thing, when we do hurt someone with our tongue or with our physical body, we physically get into a fist fight or whatever to prove ourselves right, it might give us that false sense of pride of being powerful because we won that argument or we won that fight, but it also comes with guilt. So we want to observe how that false pride has impacted our lives, where we've done something like that, where we've been where we've hurt someone with our tongue and thought that this retaliation makes us strong, being able to retaliate and hurt back. Reflect on how that impacted our day-to-day, the guilt of that, and the impact that had on our families and the people around us. For me, the first thing that does is makes people afraid, makes people scared of me once again, makes people nervous, like they have to tread on eggshells because I might get triggered. If they want to talk about me having been nasty to someone, then I get triggered because I want to justify the pride. I don't want to acknowledge the guilt, so I justify the pride. And I feel triggered because what they're saying implies that I should feel guilty about it, that it is actually wrong. Now we're observing betrayals and resentments. I want to just make a note that as we move through each of these spheres, each of these blockages, each of these infectious emotions, we want to go back into those memories and bring ourselves into the present and say, hey, look, in the present none of those things are valid anymore. In the present things have changed. This is a different reality. Those parts of ourselves that are still living in the memories is where that pain is inside of us. So we want to bring those parts of us back to the present, collect those soul fragments, say to them, hey look, the present is not the same as that past memory that you're living in. You don't need to feel that way anymore. So now we're observing betrayals, where we have been afraid of being hurt to the point where we've betrayed someone that was close to us, and vice versa, where we have been betrayed by someone because they were projecting their own fears and shames and inadequacies or selfish intentions. We want to observe how that triggered resentment for us and whether we took spiteful action or not. I want to see how that betrayal affected us. What kind of pain did we experience, and how did that affect our reality around us? And how did it affect the people in that reality? So for me, I felt a big sense of betrayal when my ex-wife left and took my daughter with her. I went to Cape Town, which is quite far from here. I've experienced a lot of pain and resentment. I found I became quite isolated. People, they seemed to be able to see that I was hurting and didn't know how to hold that, and so therefore avoided me, and I felt really isolated by that. Old friends, family, it's like they could feel the pain and they weren't able to hold it, so they just avoided. And this made me quite vengeful and angry again, like at everybody, the whole fucking world. And that didn't help my position. That didn't help me be any less isolated, it only isolated me further. And now we want to forgive the ones that betrayed us, and we want to ask the ones we've betrayed, we want to ask for forgiveness. We want to go into those moments where we have betrayed someone and we say to them in that memory, forgive me. I acknowledge that this is something that's part of my past, and I want to consciously change that, because it's something I've accepted, something that was a part of me, something that's a part of my past. Therefore I have the authority to change it, and so I'm doing so. Please forgive me. And to those people that betrayed us, we want to look at them, we want to see them in our memory, and we want to say to them, I forgive you. Even if we don't feel like it's true, we ask ourselves, do we want to heal from this pain? If the answer is yes, then we want to forgive. That's how we heal from this pain. Even if it doesn't feel authentic right now, we're still going to say it to them in that memory out loud. I forgive you. We can specify, I forgive you for abandoning me, betraying me, and taking my daughter to Cape Town. I forgive you. Now we're going to consider deceit. We're going to consider where we've lied, where we've been lied to. Most of all, we want to consider where we've lied to ourselves, where we've told ourselves some kind of story that justifies one of these other things that we just worked through. Acting in fear, acting in shame and doubt, acting in guilt and pride, acting in resentment and pain. We want to acknowledge where we have told ourselves, span a story to ourselves that justified those things. We want to reflect on when we've listened to other people try and justify themselves, when they've crossed over our boundaries, or when they've hurt us, or acted an emotional impulse in a way that was detrimental to others, and then justified themselves with some self-believed lie. We want to, denial, self-deceit. We want to observe that. Basically, we want to say to ourselves in those moments where we've done that, we want to say to ourselves, every time that someone else had to take responsibility for something that we did, we created double pain. We went through the pain of shame and guilt and stress because of the lie, and they went through the pain of taking responsibility for something that they weren't responsible for. We could have had a lot less pain if we'd just been tactful and honest. A lot less collective pain if we'd taken responsibility instead of trying to spin some kind of story to make it okay. Now we want to observe delusion and illusion, false teachings, where we've received false advice from people and then applied it and found detrimental results, where we've been raised to believe something or some teaching or some doctrine that when applied in reality into our lives has had a detrimental effect for us and those around us. Something that really comes to mind is prejudice in Christianity, prejudice towards homosexuality and transgenderism, prejudice towards other religions and occult practices. But that kind of thing where there's a false doctrine or a false teaching that we've been given, that we've based our identity around or taken action in the world using that, applying it, and then finding the results to be destructive and detrimental. We want to observe those, the ones we can acknowledge. We want to say to ourselves, none of these things that we've been reading or been taught as truth is actually true. All of it's conjecture. The only truth that there really is within our own discernment. If I can take this doctrine, or I can take this teaching and apply it to my life and find positive results, so be it. If I can take this teaching and apply it to my life and see detrimental results, I want nothing to do with it. That is the only truth, really, is that discernment, that knowing whether or not a teaching or a belief or a paradigm will have a positive or negative effect. Zapse says, I feel that a lot. Not that I've absorbed it into myself, but I'd say I felt forced to comply. Catholic schools. Ish, sorry to hear about that. I am also Catholic in my heritage and background, but I didn't go to a Catholic school. Thank the divine, thank God. But yeah, now we want to, as we breathe in, we want to see all of these negative things that we've just identified. We want to see them attach themselves to our breath. And then as we exhale out, all of those things are going out of us. All that fear, all that shame, make a sound. Let it out. Let your voice express all of those things, all that pain, all the fear, all the shame, all the doubt, all the guilt, all the pride, all the hatred, all the denial, all the illusion. Let it out. No more self-pity. Nuns are, let's just say nuns. Yeah, I haven't met enough. Haven't met enough to know. Okay, so I'm gonna do some Reiki on you now. So this is a little enchanted rock. There's a little symbol on that. So basically that's a symbol of the viewer. It corresponds to that enchantment I asked you to speak earlier, Bada Veko Net M Jota, so that the structure of that sentence is the structure of this symbol. So you speaking it out loud connects you to the enchanted rock, so that I can apply healing currents to the rock and you'll receive it as well. So basically what I want to do is I want to go into my heart center and relive some of my compassionate memories, some of my loving memories, in moments where I knew without a doubt that I was loved, and that I was showing love. And yeah, basically I want to bring up a lot of loving, compassionate feelings, because emotions power spells, and that kind of loving spirit is what creates healing. Marsa Adama Moseak E Anama Vitroni Sama Mesheneki Acha Meoruach Jutona Amanatene. Kia Kia Amanali. Amen. So, Condasto, are you here? Because I see you said hashtag tarot. I don't know if you can answer this, but what is my purpose? Is it my purpose to contribute something meaningful for people? Well, either way, Condasto, what I can say is that purpose isn't something that's divinely given to you. You don't come here with a purpose. You come here with a desire. You incarnate with a desire. Something that's deep-seated in your heart. Something that's carved deep into your heart. What is your truest desire? What do you truly desire from this life? Why did you come here? So you get to choose what means you will take to accomplish that desire. But when you are taking action and applying your will in order to accomplish that desire, you are existing within purpose. You get to set purpose for yourself that way. But let me know if you're still here and I will draw a spread for you. Awesome. Help Condasto identify what it is he or she truly desires and how to set purpose towards it. Okay, so your past interval card here is the Queen of Cups. So this card is saying to me that you have seen the reflection of others within yourself. You have had a tendency to look at what other people are doing and try to find purpose in that. Try to find a desire or something that you're passionate about in what other people are doing with their lives, instead of looking within. In this card, the Queen is looking into the water, and the water is murky. So her reflection is there, but the water is murky. Yeah, so the other people are doing things that do inspire you, that do align with what you desire, but they are all existing within their own purpose. Their means to accomplish their desire is their own. Their desire is their own. Each of us has unique desires carved into our hearts, and each of us has unique gifts and unique talents that allow us to take different pathways towards our desires. So the water is murky. You're expecting your life to look like the lives of people around you. You're expecting your purpose or your mission to look like the mission and the purpose of people around you, but it's not. It's unique to you. It's different from everybody else. What you desire and what the method that you will use to get to that desire is going to be, and is, different to every other human. So because of this fact that you're seeing a reflection, that you're seeing the reflection of other people's purpose within yourself rather than seeing your own purpose, it's created a hopelessness. Trying to order your reality to fit with what someone else has been creating, what someone else desires, it has created hopelessness for you. Like, that outcome is too big for you to manifest, and it would be, because it's someone else's journey, it's someone else's path, it's not your own. In the present, we have a 3 of discs. So this card, first of all, is talking to me about working together with other people. In the present, you're like interacting with other people, starting projects that involve others. Doing this because you become aware of what you'd like your physical reality to look like. You become aware of what kind of physical health, what level of fitness and health you'd like to be at, what level of financial security you'd like to be at. You've identified those things, and you've also identified what is going to be necessary of you, what's going to be required of you in order to see that. And so this working together with others and getting involved in various projects together with others is part of that. It's part of what you've identified as necessary. Future interval is number 7 of the trumps, the Chariot reversed. So this card is coming with a twofold meaning here. First of all, this card is saying that once you can see your heart's desire clearly, and you choose a direction, you choose a means to get there, commit to your means, commit to your direction. Because if you go halfway down the road and then you decide you should have taken a different road to your destination, then you go back to the starting point, it's kind of counterintuitive. All of the effort that you've made so far in that means will be lost. So stick to it. The card also wants to say it doesn't matter if it's the wrong decision the first time. If what you believe now is your heart's desire 2 years later turns out it wasn't, or 6 months later turns out it wasn't, doesn't matter. It's okay. You can make changes and alterations based on what you've identified to be your desire at that point. You can steadily evolve and change it. So it's not likely that you will discover that what you desire is not actually what you desire. What you'll discover is that there's more to what you desire than what you previously thought, and the means you've been taking so far doesn't incorporate the other things that you also desire. So it'll be an expansion, less of a changing direction. It will be more of an expansion of how much you are an expansion of where you're dedicating your efforts and what it is you're working towards. Not abandoning what you have been working towards, but adding other things, adding other priorities, putting them on your list of things to do. Yeah, and that concludes your reading. So if you haven't already followed me, please go ahead and do so. Much appreciated. And yeah, I hope that gives you some insight, and more than that, I hope what I had to say regarding purpose and desires also gives you a perspective shift. And I see we've got 6 viewers. Thanks guys, thanks for joining us. I will be happy to take a few requests for readings, so I'm going to say this is the last opportunity to join the queue. To anyone who's viewing the stream, anyone who would like to get a reading before I close, last opportunity to join the queue. To do so, type #tarot with your question. That'll get you in. Condasto, you're most welcome. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again. I do offer a variety of different offerings here in the stream. So earlier we were doing some trauma release meditation, a very brief, quick version of it, followed by a little bit of remote energy healing. And in addition to tarot, I also use this bowl here, this green bowl. It's full of black water. I use that for divination too. I just stare into the reflection. See visions appear in the surface of that water, and then I interpret those visions as if it was like a dream. I interpret it like a dream. Yeah. Also, I cast spells. Every now and then I'll pick someone to cast a spell for, and then I'll cast a spell and they'll tell me what they desire, and I'll help them manifest it. Welcome Maya, thank you for joining the queue. Is there anyone else who would like a reading before I close? Maya, let me know if you have a question or if you'd like a general reading. Zapzez says, it really sounds like you've lived a life full of stories, but that's just a guess. I mean nothing by it. Well. The only time that I bring up the stories of my life is to give examples. Like if something comes up in the tarot and I'm at a loss for words, often I can get the point across through an example of where something similar like that came up in my own life. So that's pretty much the only time I bring up stories from my life. But I have traveled quite a bit around the southern African countries. General reading for Mia. Don't really know how we're supposed to pronounce your name there. But anyway, what guidance do the spirits of the universe have for the one known as Maya? Maya. Well, your past interval card is number 17 of the trumps. It's called the Star. I don't know if you're familiar with the tarot, but the Star, it is talking about making some changes to the way that you direct your emotional energies. So those emotional energies would be things, with this card being reversed, those energies are things like fear, like anxiety and stress, overwhelm, feeling like responsibilities are too heavy, This is things that have already happened. This is like last couple months. Feeling stressed about responsibilities and overwhelmed about decisions that have to be made, but then making the changes in the way that you direct those currents. So then instead of doing something reactive to the energy, like saying, okay, I'm afraid, so I'm going to hide away in a ball and do nothing. I've got all of these decisions to make and I can't make any of them, so I'm just going to sit here and watch series. So instead of doing that, you've been redefining the way that you interact with the emotional current. Saying, okay, I'm feeling anxious, let me write about it, or I'm feeling anxious, let me make some music or play some music, and let me do something creative instead of something consumptive. Instead of consuming media, let me create. Or saying, because I'm feeling anxious about this responsibility, I'm going to do something productive that will help secure that priority. Present interval is Two of Cups. So in the present, you are committing to yourself. This card is saying that you're committing to yourself, to filling your own cup, to loving yourself, making sure you're not neglecting yourself. Putting some time out for yourself and your self-care routines. Taking responsibility, saying that your emotional well-being and your emotional satiety, your emotional abundance is up to you, that you should be filling your own cup, making sure you get enough to eat, making sure your body's nourished, making sure, having a nice bath every now and then, putting some candle lights there, giving yourself a treat every now and then, taking care of you, because there isn't anyone else that's going to do that really. You can't rely on anyone else to take care of you except you. So there is a lot of potential for abundance in your emotional being coming from self-love, and you're committing to that potential. You're reaching for it and you're committing to yourself in the present. Future interval is Three of Discs. So this is what's opening up for you. And this is talking about hopelessness regarding your health and your career. So the card wants to say to you that you don't need to feel hopeless. You don't need to. Well, the feeling is valid because what you're hoping to accomplish, what you want to create, and what you have been creating is pretty big. But now you're going to becoming aware of what's actually going to be required of you in order to see that manifested, and that once you are aware of what's required, it's going to be a little bit daunting. It's going to be a little bit more than what you had hoped for or been prepared for. And so that's what's going to bring the hopelessness. So it's valid, the feeling, but the card wants to say to you, don't let it discourage you. You have the potential. You have the strength to see it realized. You can improve your health and your lifestyle. You can see that improvement. Think in terms of 1% improvements at a time. So when it comes to working on your projects or on your career, think in terms of 1% improvements. So you're becoming aware of what's actually going to be required of you, and that's daunting, it's a lot, but you don't have to meet the end goal overnight. Just think in terms of 1% improvements. Every week, try and see how can I improve my health, the health of my lifestyle and my habits. How can I improve it by 1%? How can I improve my productivity and what I do towards my security? What can I do to improve that by 1%? And each week you just want to push that 1% margin, keep pushing it. And that is the conclusion of your reading. So you are welcome, Maya. Thank you for joining me. Please like and share. I think you have already subscribed. I feel like I've seen your name before. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Welcome, Sahu. I'm going to give you a reading, Sahu. If you're still here, just let me know. Zapse says, well, either way, I look forward to catching another stream of yours. I'll try not to say anything too strange. Thank you. Thank you for your decorum and your... what's the other word I'm looking for? Your discretion. So Jayoti, Sahu, you here? Because I'm going to give you the last reading of the day. Chaotic energy? Who has chaotic energy? You? I didn't feel like you had chaotic energy. Actually, as a matter of fact, when I moved through your energy centers with you, where did I feel the most resistance? I felt the most resistance in your creative sphere and in your heart center. So that's to do with creativity, sexuality, shame, doubt, and in the heart, love, compassion, clouded by pain, pain of betrayal, infected with resentment. And yeah, I don't feel like that's chaotic energy. And then when I was applying the healing card for you, what did I feel there? I felt disinterest. I felt a sense of like a lack of passion, like an absence of fire. Just feeling no motivation. No motivation to do anything or go anywhere, or like nothing's really worth it at this point. Welcome, Genesis. It's been a long time. Thank you for joining me. So, Genesis, I will give you the last reading of the day. It was going to go to Sahu, but Sahu left, so... Genesis, do you have a question? Or general? Obsidian Pagan, I don't believe in coincidence, so you're right. Thank you for popping in, by the way. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence. Okay, Sahu is here, so I'm going to read for Sahu and for Genesis, and yeah, if you want a reading, Obsidian, let me know and I'll put you in the queue as well. It's like 2 AM, but who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. You guys matter to me. What is AK feeling for Sahu? Past interval is number 3 of the trumps, the Empress. Okay, so Sahu, this card is saying to me that you have been his Empress. You have been a reflection of his mother. He has seen all of the things that he loves and appreciates in his mother. He has seen them in you. Your nourishing character, your desire to give of your your desire to give of yourself for those that you love. You're ready to stand up and defend the people that you love with your mouth. Pick up a sword and defend them from slander. Willing to bleed in order to make sure that they're secure and fed. He has seen these character traits in you. He sees you and he recognizes that in you and appreciates you for this divine feminine that lives in you. Present interval is number 5, reversed. So he feels like you might be following the wrong examples, like the people that you're looking up to, the character that you idealize is unhealthy in his mind. Whether or not it's true, that's what he's seeing. He's seeing you follow examples, and the effect that their influence is having on you, he doesn't like it. He also feels like you're applying yourself further than what your knowledge and your resources can carry you. Like you're trying to make changes to yourself, you're trying to make changes to your environment and your life, but you only have a certain amount of knowledge and experience and resource. So he feels like you're reaching too far, that your steps are too big. Like you're climbing up a staircase, but you're trying to jump 5 or 6 steps at a time instead of just taking 1 step at a time. And he wishes you would just walk a little slower and take baby steps. You would have a lot less frustration. Future interval, Queen of Swords. This is what's opening up. Basically, this is talking about motivation towards your goals. I'm not sure if he's going to start motivating you towards your goals, but what's opening up for you is motivation. You're going to be tapping into inspiration and motivation towards your own goals, whatever it is, these goals that you're working for in the present that he thinks you're trying too hard to obtain and he wishes you would take it a little bit easier. And that's what's opening up for you, is you finding the inspiration to work towards that in an effective way, a more effective way than what you have been. Genesis wants a general reading about the future, and Obsidian would love a reading. Awesome. You're welcome, Sahu. Thank you for joining me again. I just want to let you know, Sahu, that I'm always prepared to take your question. The only time that you miss your reading is if you leave the stream before I get to you in the queue. So all I can say is please have patience, because I don't plan to skip you. I only end up skipping you because you've left when I get to you. I was convinced that I saw smoke over here, but where could it have come from? What's on the playing field for Genesis? Okay, Genesis, your first card is 9 of Wands. This is where you've come from. You've been reflecting on what you are passionate about. Doing some shadow work. Whenever you've stepped out towards what you're passionate about, There might have been resistances, there might have been breakthroughs. So you're reflecting on all those things. You're reflecting on when your desires have changed and how that's impacted your life. Reflected in order to avoid encountering the same kind of resistances, or in order to apply the methods that you use to find breakthrough, to apply them again in the present. Whatever you are doing now in the present is what defines your future. And in the present, what you're doing, you are experiencing some kind of resistance. And so the reflection is therefore in order to apply methods for success from the past. Looking back and saying, okay, when I was faced with something like this in the past, how did I deal with it? Are there times when I was faced with this that I went backwards? Are there times when I was faced with this that I made breakthrough? How did I deal with it? You don't want to repeat the same mistakes from the past, and you want to reapply your methods of success. So that's what this reflection is about, the self-reflection and the shadow work. In the present, we have 10 of Cups. So what you're doing in the present is sowing seeds of emotional support, also reaping the harvest thereof. So you have given emotional support, you've given counseling, and you've helped people out when they have been in a dire state. People have come to you, and you have seen others in distress, and you've offered bits of wisdom and offered bits of support in any way that you were able to. So in the present, you're actually reaping the harvest of this. Now you are very much focused on sowing new seeds, of reaching new people, making new connections, starting the new cycle. In other words, stepping into that future. So the card wants you to be mindful not to overlook the harvest of the investments you've already made into other people, because it is coming back to you. But when we focus so much on sowing new seeds, we can often get distracted from the harvest. So that card wants to remind you to be grateful for the things that are coming in, be ready to receive as much as you're ready to give out. What's opening up for you? Future interval, Queen of Cups. So this one is talking about reflections, seeing yourself in others. So you want a certain emotional being. You want to have a certain amount of emotional peace and stability. And there are certain changes or certain systems you want to set in place. Spiritual systems, support groups, changes you want to make to your reality that you feel will help you find that state of emotional balance. You want that, you're inspired for that, not only for yourself but for others. So you're going to be interacting with people who reflect that. You're going to be meeting people who that idea bounces off of, and you see in them that they want something similar, that they're creating something similar. You might feel like it's competition, like they are competition, but and they are, but you don't have to be resentful towards them. You can allow their success to inspire you. It'll help you reach for what your goals. It'll help you reach for your outcomes, and you'll do the same for them. And at various points you'll be working together even. And that is your reading concluded. Zap says tainted by resentment. That's a new way. A new way I've heard it. Thank you. Having another set of eyes to see helps. It usually does. Like yesterday, I went and got a tarot reading from HP Smoothcraft. If you don't know him, you can look him up. It's pretty interesting. And like, he's also using the Thoth deck, so he's pulling the cards for me and I'm reading them as they're coming on screen. He hasn't given me his interpretation yet. I'm reading them, I'm like, oh fuck, okay, shit, alright. But then his interpretation, it added a new perspective to it. It added this new perspective. It brought up certain things that I hadn't seen when I was reading the cards that he was drawing. So yeah, you're right. Having a new set of eyes does very much help. An outside perspective is always very useful. You're welcome, Genesis. If you are not a follower, please hit that follow button. Give your new sorcerer a follow. Much appreciated. Obsidian Pagan says, I'm needing some general guidance for life. I feel I've started to enjoy living recently, which has been a hard thing to do. I feel I have started to enjoy living recently, which has been a hard thing to do the last few years, but I'd love some insight from you. Awesome. What general guidance do the spirits of the universe have for Obsidian Pagan? Okay. Your first card is the Three of Wands. So this is saying to me that the reason you had a hard time enjoying life is because what you actually desired from life, what you believed would be authentic or what makes life worth living, seemed like it was fantastic, like it was impossible or outside of your reach, too big, something you couldn't reach for, something you'd never be able to manifest. Yeah, that's what that card is saying. But it's come to a close. As you said, you've recently started to enjoy life, so something has shifted here. I mean, this card is showing up only to say to you that there's nothing your heart can desire that you can't manifest. If you can see it, if you can feel that desire for it in your heart, and you can see a means, you can see the outcome, and you can see a means that you can start working towards that outcome, then you can get there. Because as soon as you start applying yourself to that means, you're putting one foot in front of the other, and with every step you're getting a little bit closer. In the present, I've got the Lover's card, number 6. This card is talking about evolution through connection. So you have some close relationships. Now this one, there is one relationship that really stands out among the others. Now I don't know if you're in a romantic relationship or not, that's not being specified, but there is a deep, intimate connection that you have. Now you've got several close connections. It's talking about all of them, that whole sphere of your closest connections, but particularly that one relationship that stands out. So you've been doing the best that you can until now. You've been doing the best that you can, just moving through life, applying your resources and your knowledge as best as you can, and just doing the best that you can, just all around. And now through this connection, through this relationship and these close connections, you're evolving past those limitations, and you're doing better than you could ever have been doing before. You have learned from their example. Basically, they've had little pieces of the puzzle that you didn't have, and they're giving those pieces to you to make your picture more complete, and you're doing the same for them. The reason you have this deep connection, that you've made this deep connection, is because you guys are resonating on similar frequencies, and that's the frequency of doing the best that you can, of applying yourself to your maximum potential. But there were limits on that potential until this relationship. Until you get into this relationship and you start interacting, then suddenly all of their knowledge and experience improves yours, and all of yours improves theirs, and you guys both ascend past your limits. So that's what's going on for you in the present. Future interval is the Queen of Wands. So this card is about reaching for what you desire and what you're passionate about. It's about stepping through that gateway. If the opportunities are there, they've been there all along. You have the commitment, you've committed to things. Now it's time to actually just commit to this thing that you used to be hopeless about, to this desire that's carved into your heart, to actually apply your will to accomplish it. So that card just has a little warning for you, saying as you do this, just be mindful that when these moments of hopelessness come back, because they will, that feeling of overwhelm, hopelessness, then you might get overzealous, and like you don't want to believe that it's hopeless, you want to believe that it's possible, so you start to communicate with people zealously. It's almost like you're trying to convince them that this is possible, but the truth is you're only trying to convince yourself. So the card wants to warn you not to do that, not to project that overzealousy onto others around you, because it can intimidate them and it can frighten them away. It can push them away. But that is the conclusion of your reading, and thank you once again. Obsidian Pagan, I feel like you have bounced into my stream once before, long ago. Your name looks so familiar to me. So if you're not a subscriber, if you're not a follower yet, please follow. Thank you very much. I'm going to close the stream now. Obsidian Pagan says, thank you so much. You're right about coincidence. Those hit me very deeply. I appreciate this very much. And Zapses says, thank you again. Most welcome, guys. Wishing you all wealth and prosperity beyond measure, beyond your wildest dreams. I'll see you later, because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and in 12 hours I'll be live again. So, see you then.